Yeah, just looking at the Dow again. Okay, now we've had a wave 3, 4, now we're at wave 5. We've got a candle top in here. I call it an Adam and an Eve. That's Adam. Eve is more rounded and then it just falls off. Okay, just recently I was talking to a friend of mine and I was warning him about this candle here. I said that's basically the first warning shot across the bow. The next red candle is the second, and I told him to look out for the third, and there they go, because if they give you a warning shot across the bow, they usually give you three. And we've had a big capitulation low in here, and with a higher open from that low, but not a higher open from that close. So these two candles are basically saying two stars in the south, okay, at the moment. Now, they usually come in three stars at the south, and that is a mild bullish candle pattern, okay. So if we look at everything else, we've finally hit our 200-day exponential moving average and not quite our 200-day simple moving average. The thing that concerns me at the moment is these MAs, okay? They are starting to cross into what we call the 30-day moving average cross of death, okay? But bearing in mind with the candles and also the indicators on the daily chart look very oversold, except for a slight bounce that we've had on the SCOF. Okay, if we have a look at the DEMA, okay, we haven't had any short entries triggered, and the DEMA's gone through 50. Okay, now the DEMA can go a lot further, but it does tend to bounce around the 50 mark like it's done back here in the past. Okay, so just bear that in mind, and along with this SCOF, but it could just turn it around again and bounce off this line here. So at the moment I'm still thinking the daily is quite oversold, and if you have a look at it, the Bollinger Band is here, and a stock usually trades 3 days outside the Bollingers before it goes back into it. Okay, so it's just a rule of thumb I use, and I use that on the up and I use it on the down. So at the moment I'm still thinking the Dow is oversold at the moment on the daily chart. So just bear that in mind. Okay, so if you're a brave trader and you want to go long, I'd probably do it on Tuesday, because if this candle pattern works out, it'll probably be another down on Monday and then an up on the Tuesday, which is a little bit against thinking things for the simple reason that Mondays are usually an up on the Dow. So it could even finish up in here, and that would be even more bullish. We've done a wave 5. We'd expect to do an ABC down. Is this A here at the moment? I've done a fib projection from wave 2 to wave 4 lows, and the 100% fib comes out at around about the 10.850 mark, around about here. The 161 comes up higher at around about 1100. So it could hit either of those two levels, but I think a B would probably be underneath the top of wave 5 for a C down to retest some further lows, okay, which I'll get to on the weekly chart. Also along this line here is the 50% from the October high to the March low. Okay, so something else there to bear in mind. Let's just quickly have a look at the weekly chart. And weekly indicators pointing down, 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 short entries triggered. Okay, we could get a little divergence off of these, okay, which would trigger an up. So that would probably fit in with the daily chart for next week to come off on Monday, then bounce up, okay, with the daily candles. Might bounce up for about a week, then I'd probably be looking at another down. But the SCOF definitely wants to come off. Whether it's going to do this again or not, we will have to see what plays out. Okay. Here's the and these red and greens are buy sell triggers, okay, and they've worked extremely well. They've alerted us every time before when to get out, when to get in, okay. They've been very, very good. The other thing on the weekly chart is we still haven't traded below the 50-day moving average, and this is probably one of the first times we've tested the 30. So we're thinking what's going on. The top was the 200-day moving average there, so it's topped out of that. Whether it wants to have another go at it, we shall see sooner than later, I would suggest. The big thing is on the monthly chart, this is a big red. We've also had another sell trigger the month before, okay. Its top was just right up here in this Gann grid, okay. It topped it again. So I'm thinking it's probably going to follow this Gann grid the way down. Where the lows are going to be, I'm not quite sure, but I think they'd have to be along this blue line. So it might be a consolidation period or what, I don't know. Because the MAs are still pushing up, okay. MAs are still pushing up, but it's a monthly chart and they can take some time to turn. But the monthly is definitely not oversold, if anything. Could be a little bit the other way. When we look at the indicators on the monthly, the MACD is definitely high. Okay, this is a period I've talked about on these videos before, where we looked at this line being our top. Okay, like it did back here in the past. Okay, it hasn't quite got there. Okay, but it's it tried. Okay, short entry sell. Okay, short exit sell, and ultimate oscillator sell, and DEMA has turned again. But whether DEMA just turns here, flat lines out along the 50, okay, is another thing to look at, and that's probably what I'd be expecting by looking at the chart above. The Scoth up here is ready to turn and come down. Whether it flat lines along here like it did before a major sell-off, I don't know, because that would probably fit in with a B, C. That would probably fit in with something like that, so that's probably what I'd be thinking about along those lines. By the way, for you who are following these videos, I also do a blog at haspeetsblogspot.com, and someone also sent me an email, and I did read it, and I think my secretary deleted it, so I'm extremely sorry that I didn't get back to you, but there could still be support in here and here. Okay, so if it's going to be an off, I'm thinking, well, it's not going to be a big off, but that's big enough. Okay, and we've fallen a hell of a lot this month or this week, so I just bear that in mind. They are fairly big falls. We're not saying it's nothing like when we did GFC. I think it's just a little bit more in at the moment. We might even come back and retest this line. Yeah, we don't know, but we'll have to see. But that'd mean a break at the 50-day. Yeah, so yeah, I'm just glad I'm out of this market at the moment. I'll wait and see. And like I said, there was some traders in there who did some excellent trades on the Dow when it hit that low 2 nights ago. Balls and all, congratulations to you. And I think there might be a bit more of that as we make a B, but then I'd be looking out for a C, and that's just my thoughts on it anyway. Okay, see you guys, trade safe.